Awez, and today we're reacting to Mr. Beast predicted the future. Ellen flees US because of Trump by Dalen Page. Before I get in the video, I changed where I film because of the Wi-Fi was keep on buffering while I was really just filming it. So I'm now just in the sitting room. So I'm gonna try to be a little bit not that loud because people are sleeping. Usually when I basically have free time to be in there to record. So I probably won't be as loud as I usually am, but I'm gonna try to project as much. But let's see though. Comment, like, subscribe, and let's start.
Since we last spoke, countries around the world have been battered by megastorms. Saudi's sleeping prince has died after 20 years in a coma. Mr. Beast accurately predicted the future 10 years ago. Ellen DeGeneres has officially announced that she permanently left America because of Trump and moved to the UK. Players in the WNBA have caused major controversy after wearing "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirts. And a man has passed away after being sucked into an MRI machine. All of that and so much more. Subscribe if you want to turn this bad boy golden. And let's stop the yapping and let's get correct. Okay, let's kick this week's wrap with a pretty insane video that I was recommended randomly today. It was simply titled YouTube in 10 years, and I would have never clicked on it, but then I saw a name underneath and I thought, that's weird. Yeah, that name was Mr. Beast, and as you can see, it is just turned 10 years old. So YouTube decided, let's put bro on blast and let's see if his predictions for 10 years really true. The scary part is that almost every prediction he made was goddamn accurate, especially his last one. The whole thing is just a voiceover. It doesn't have many views, only about 300k is the time of recording, and it's just while he plays Call of Duty. This is June 2015, and at that time, he has less than 3,000 subscribers. Really keep that in mind. That really doesn't count as a YouTuber at that point, yet he's making predictions. So let's see if they're right. His first prediction is that PewDiePie, who only had about 37 million subscribers at the time, would have 117 million subs 10 years later. And despite PewDiePie practically retiring a couple years ago, in 2025, PewDiePie has 110 million. So he's only 7 million off. He predicts that some of our favorite YouTubers at the
Yo, bro. Sorry, I don't know if I'm still subscribed to PewDiePie, but like, bro, that whole like subscriber was beef with him and T-Series. Sure, yes, it did kind of end in a very sad note. RIP to all the people that suffered in that mosque incident. But yo, before that, bro, bitch lasagna, look at T-Series, they're just crying for their mama. That shit was fire, bro. That shit was fire. That shit was fire. But yeah, man, that was a fun time. That was a very fun time, bro.
at the time, they would have passed away. And while people in the comments pointed out like massive YouTubers like Techno, I guess that one's not that impressive because it's fairly generic, you know, it's bound to happen. But then he does not hit us with something that's generic in the next one. It's specific. He says that in 10 years, YouTube will have developed anti-ad blocker systems. And that one was pretty crazy because remember, it was only in like 2023 where they rolled out like these tests where, you know, it violated their terms of service. And then 2020.
But that makes sense though. I mean, as a business, you want to make sure that you can make money, right? And the anti-ad blockers basically stops them from making money. So of course they're going to find a way to do that. So that prediction is not really like a crazy prediction, to be honest with you. It's kind of obvious. Like, they are a multi-billion-dollar company. Of course they're going to find a way to develop an anti-ad blocker. So, but at that time, were they a multi-billion-dollar company? I'm not quite sure, but it's kind of obvious now that they would.
2024, they really cracked down on it, and we now have the ad blockers that we have today. I mean, people still find a way through, but it's a pretty wild prediction to be coming true 7 years later. He then says in 10 years, he feels like YouTube will have beaten out TV, and that prediction has really started to come true in the last few years in particular. Because let's be honest, YouTube has already destroyed cable TV, but now instead of just competing with other platforms like TikTok and Instagram, they're practically competing with Prime and Netflix, because more and more people are watching YouTube on their TVs instead of, their phones and their laptops. So another pretty W prediction, but then in his next one, this one is just wild. Keep in mind, less than 3.
That is fire. I think also too, when it comes down to it, bro, YouTube just has more variety. You can watch so many different things compared to when you have to watch Netflix and all these other things on TV, on your smart TV. Of course, if you don't have a smart TV, you can just buy a TV box and just plug that in. But generally, YouTube has more variety, and you can find more videos of certain things that you didn't know of. Yo, my eyes are red, guys. I need to sleep, but I want to do a few more videos. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's more variety here.
Less than 3,000 subscribers, he says this.
10 years from now, I will be famous on YouTube, and you're gonna think to yourself, I remember watching this guy back before he had 3,000 subscribers. Man, did this guy's content suck back then.
And there you go. 10 years later, he is not only famous on YouTube, he is the platform's most subscribed to creator. And most probably the most subscribed to creator that YouTube will ever have. And the thing that's so crazy for me is, like, fair enough if you're saying this after you get a little bit of traction or you see something that's working. But he said this before he made a single video that's in this classical Mr. Beast style. He based it off of nothing. And that's just the thing. Delusion turns into genius real quick when you got success. He did get one thing wrong though. He said that the social media at the time, Google Plus, would have billions of users by 2025 because they force you to open an account if you want YouTube. But turns out in 2019, they terminated Google Plus, so it has 0 users. Ha! Mr. Beast is human after all, but truly pretty insane. Maybe I'll make a prediction for what the News Daddy empire will look like by 2035. Good Lord, it will be a glorious place with millions upon millions of sacrificial lambs that have built it brick by brick. Moving on. Also this week, countries...
Okay, let me make my prediction. In 5 years, right? Hear me now. 5 years. Not even 5 years. In 3 years, we are going to hit. Now, let's just say 5 years. Let's just say, what? Let's go safe. 4 years, you're going to hit 1 million subscribers on this hoe. We're going to hit 1 million subscribers. That's my prediction.
Countries around the world got absolutely battered by megastorms. I don't even know what was going on with the weather this week, but holy. In Ha Long, Vietnam, 38 people died last night after a massive tropical storm capsized a tourist boat, with the torrential rain and massive hailstones severely hindering its search for survivors. In Ajmer, India, people were literally seen getting swept away in the streets as shop owners and bystanders try and pull them to safety. Basically, this whole region that you're seeing these videos in got screwed because they had nearly 130% more rainfall than they usually get in their monsoon season. Key point, so far. Over in Bucharest, Romania, they were hit by such an extreme storm on Thursday that it triggered code red and code orange alerts.
Question. Do you think this is happening because of that whole global warming thing? Because if that's the case, then a lot of people are going to strike. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't stop it now because you already started it. But a lot of people are going to strike, and they're really going to go after these type of people. Brother, world has so many problems, dog. Oh, so many problems.
Across 15 different counties. Local media described the scope of these alerts as, quote, unparalleled in recent history. In Washington, D.C., today, there are torrential rains that have caused floods and prompted water rescues. Over the weekend in Alberta, Canada, thunderstorms lit up the sky and flooded the streets and caused power cuts and traffic chaos. Just outside of Ankara in Turkey, floods got so bad that they burst through freaking apartment walls and swept away cars. And then also, regions in South Korea this week were hit with the heaviest rainfall per hour that they've had in 120 years. That's basically since records began. At least a dozen people have died, thousands have been evacuated, landslides have destroyed entire villages, and thousands have become homeless after their houses were destroyed. All of that in less than a freaking week. And I've probably missed a bunch more. In fact, I know that I've missed a bunch more. Yeah, I know. It's not normal, but the new normal. Moving on. Also this week, a pretty world-famous Saudi Arabian prince passed away after spending 20 years in a coma. And the thing that's crazy about this is that it's not just a story about a tragedy. It's a story of how a family stood by their son for 2 decades, refusing to give up on him. You see, Prince Al-Walid, who was a member of the ruling royal family of Saudi Arabia, well, he was in a horrific car crash while studying at a London military college in 2005. At the time, he was just 15 years old, and he suffered severe brain injuries, which led to internal bleeding and forced him into a coma. And things were so bad that even doctors themselves advised the family to cut off his life support. His father, however, refused to give up hope. And instead, for the next 20 years, the family did everything they could for him. And in the process, he became known globally as the Sleeping Prince. They brought in top specialists from around the world. They celebrated his birthday by his bedside. And they even shared small signs of progress like faint finger movements online. But despite all of this, hoping that one day their son would wake up, we get this news. Yesterday, on the 19th of July, the father announced on X, "With deep sorrow and sadness, we mourn our beloved son." Crazy part is that he also died in the same hospital that he was treated in for the last 20 years. And now the whole country of Saudi Arabia is mourning because this thing has turned into so much more than just an accident. The Sleeping Prince and his family turned into a symbol of enduring love, hope, and perseverance. And that's a story that has touched the hearts of millions around the world.
Okay, before we go into it, let's get some conspiracy theories on, right? Do you think it was really an accident? That car accident, do you think it was really an accident? Because we all know how, like, the, royalty acts with each other. You know what I'm saying? Just nobility and all these type of people acts with each other. Do you think it was really, a car accident? Besides that, I forgot my other point. Damn. But yeah, do you actually think it was a car accident? Because I remember the story of the Sleeping Prince, and when I first heard it, I was like, he was 15 and he got in a car accident in a military academy. Okay, that sounds a little bit old, but I don't know. But yeah, man, RIP to the member, bro. RIP to the member.
So, along those same lines, we say RIP to the Sleeping Prince. Moving on. Okay, here's a pretty interesting question for you guys. Should female basketball players get paid more money? Well, I asked that because last night at the All-Star game, both teams, their opposition, they both wore t-shirts that read, "Pay us what you owe us," while the crowd of 16,000 people, they chanted, "Pay them, pay them, pay them." And these types of protests are happening more and more currently because there are ongoing negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement on how the players in the league get paid. The players themselves, well, they're pushing for a more dynamic salary model where their pay split rises as the league's revenue does. While the league, well, they want a more fixed salary model. The issue with the WNBA players wanting more money is that, according to critics, the league is losing money. It's not profitable every single year. In fact, it's got a trend of losing more and more money each year. together. Last year, for example, the WNBA reportedly operated at a $50 million loss in a single season. And while that's true, there are some saying there is a hint of a reversal. They recently signed a $2.2 billion media deal, which is set to start in 2026. There are new teams joining, which will bring in expansion fees. The viewership of the league has increased 23%.
Hold up, before we get into it, I don't know why they're acting like this because, okay, yes, you didn't make a profit, but you all said it yourselves. When people said, hey, yo, pay these, I think it was a few years back, or I think this was FIFA, right? They were asking, basically protesting that why don't the female players don't get paid the same amount as the male players, to which the FIFA head was like, oh, I don't know who he joined, but just a FIFA official was like, well, we'll pay y'all more money when y'all can make more money. And that's the same thing that I think the WNBA should be doing. It's like, dog, these people are making you more money than ever, and you want to what? You want to give them cents. People don't come here for you. They came here to watch these ladies. We didn't come here for anybody else. Now you're going to pay them what they're worth, or I think they just should stop playing these girls. I don't know. Or you know what the ladies do? They make it boring again. You know what I'm saying?
And there has been plenty of new sponsors coming on. And although this isn't enough to make the league profitable yet, it's worth noting that these players are not asking to be paid the same amount as men. Rather, they're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared. Essentially, they're calling for the same fundamentals of the deal that men have, where the NBA pays their players a 50% split of all basketball-related income. The women's deal, well, they receive around 20 to 25%. And it's also worth noting their revenue split model works a little bit differently on top of that.
And they still want to cut that and give them a fixed income. That is crazy. They're crazy.
But then it's also worth noting that the NBA is extremely profitable, unlike the WNBA. So to this, some people say that applying that same revenue sharing model just wouldn't be very simple. But the question is, what do you think? Does it make sense that both the men and the women have the same deal? Or are the losses just still too deep to justify a raise? Let me know in the comments, but moving on. Also this week, America's latest idea to prevent school shootings was inspired by the war in Ukraine. See, recently a tech company called Campus Guardian Angel demonstrated how their drone-led first response would save lives. The idea is that between 30 and 90 drones would be permanently stationed at the school, and then unlike law enforcement who have to first arrive on scene and then move through the building relatively slow, to avoid casualties, well, the drones could instantly smash through windows, confront the shooter just 15 seconds after launch, and be operated by pilots who are permanently stationed at the company's headquarters in Austin, Texas. And apparently they can even engage the shooter while waiting for law enforcement to arrive. They can do it with sirens, a two-way speaker to speak to the person, and pepper spray, and even projectiles. They say if all fails, the drones themselves can be turned into non-lethal weapons by just flying it into the shooter. And while this does sound like an amazing idea, there are some caveats. The company's CEO said that the inspiration came from watching how successful these drones have been against people with guns in the conflict in Ukraine. And while I get that is very well-meaning and it still makes sense, it's just so wild to think that there is a scenario in which literal war tactics have a place at a school, right? And it's not just that, but
Hold up, not even that. Before you continues, right? Not even that. I think when it comes to, do you know that people can hack your shit? Do you know that people can hack your shit? So you're going to leave these hackable devices around kids, teenagers, and you might be saying, "Ow, Lost Owen, what you talking about? It's not like they can hack in it. They didn't go to uni to hack." Bro, the first hackers didn't go to uni to hack, bro. They learned it by themselves. And you're going to give these type of genius kids access to such drones. Might as well just give them the gun, bro. Might as well just give them the gun. So I'm kind of iffy with that idea, but hopefully it works out.
6 drones alone would cost the school $15,000 plus a $4 a month subscription per student. So for example, if the school has 2,000 students, that's an additional cost per month of $8,000. And over a period of, let's say, 1 year, and you're not even guaranteed to use these things, that would be nearly $1 million. But then you could also very easily argue that if these drones even saved one life, then every penny would be well spent. So the question is, what do you think? Should these drones be rolled out ASAP, nationwide, or can you think of a better solution? Let me know in the comments. Moving on. And we are moving on to our quick 3 sacrificial lambs that remind us to subscribe. Guys, remember, from the 2 of us, they hurt, so you don't have to. So subscribe to the channel. Every subscription turns this just slightly, my precious, more golden. Okay, I think it's time for some royal news. Okay, starting with something I never thought I'd even see. A current president of the United States posting an AI-generated video of a former president of the United States getting arrested and then put in jail. Bro, what timeline are we on? Yeah, either way, in a now deleted post, he even captioned it, "Nobody is above the law." Now, the reason he posted it was essentially to amplify the recent allegations made by Tulsi Gabbard, the director of the National Intelligence. And a couple of days ago, she released over 100 pages of...
Hey, I'm gonna say this. That is crazy. B. Tulsi is fire. Tulsi is hot, bro. When I was first researching basically what's this American departments, bro, and I saw her, I was like, yo. And I saw she was the head of what, and I was like, oh, she's scary too. But she's just a hot dog. I wouldn't date her because she probably, spike my drink or kill me while I'm sleeping, but I can admire from afar.
100 pages of newly declassified documents which she says reveals treasonous conspiracy by the Democrats who allegedly manufactured the Russia collusion narrative to get rid of Trump. Now, apparently these documents suggest that Obama pushed for a new intelligence assessment on this matter, despite an earlier internal consensus stating that cyber-based Russian influence was unlikely, but he still pushed for it. Tulsi Gabbard has even gone as far as sending all of these documents to the DOJ for criminal referral. And so that's why Trump is saying that Obama's gonna get arrested, but I've heard he has presidential immunity, so that wouldn't happen anyway. Next, Ellen DeGeneres has officially DeGeneres? I don't even know. But she has officially confirmed for the first time that she has permanently left America because of Trump, and she's moved here to the UK. Now, the reasoning for that, she says, it is basically a scary time to be yourself in America. Is that true, America? And things like their Baptist church is trying to reverse a gay marriage, and if they do that, then they're gonna get remarried here in the UK. She said that if the situation of being gay in America was better, then, quote, other people that are actors and actresses that I know are gay that would be out, they're not. And it's still because it's a problem and they're still scared. She also bigged up the UK in pretty much, she said it's actually better in every way than America, that it's more beautiful, it's cleaner, it's a more simple way of life. The people are more polite and the animals are treated better. And if you're from the UK and you're hearing this like, wait, what? She hasn't moved to London or to any big city. She's essentially moved to the Cotswolds. So for anyone not in the UK, imagine villages and fields. Just imagine like Harry Potter. No, not Harry Potter. What is it? Lord of the Rings? Yeah, imagine Lord of the Rings. She also dropped that she would love to start a British talk show, which got me thinking. I want to move to America. She wants to stay here. How about we swap? America, come on. You probably need a new Ellen. You cooked the last one. You sent her back. I'm pretty sure I'm not too keyed in with like the whole reason, but like her show got cancelled. Apparently she had like a toxic workplace and stuff, but you need a new one. Ellen for Dylan. That's got a great wit ring to it, huh? I'll create an America show, probably won't be a talk show, but it'll be something like that. I could get the same haircut. I mean, look, blonde hair, blue eyes. Ellen for Dylan, 2025. It would be like she did leave, but then came back better. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Ellen for Dylan, 2025.
Okay, I'm just gonna end it, yo. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for chilling with your own. Comment, like, subscribe, and until next time, I've been the Lost Owen.